Welcome back, everybody, to the Fretboard Journal podcast. I'm your host, Jason Verlinde. I'm in Seattle, Washington. It just started raining. It hasn't rained for a long while. It's a beautiful fall morning, and it's the perfect setting for the conversation you're about to hear that I just had with Courtney Hartman. Courtney Hartman, an incredible singer-songwriter, incredible bluegrass musician, friend of the Fretboard Journal for many, many years. She's been to our Fretboard Summits in the past. She took over this podcast a couple of times to talk to some of her favorite people in the gear business. She's been on our Guitar for Introverts podcast, and we just love celebrating her and her music. And after a little bit of a hiatus while Courtney gave birth to her daughter and figured all of that fun adult stuff out, she's back with a new record called With You. And we are super excited to be sharing with you a track called Everything at Once on fretboardjournal.com. The entire With You album will be out in November. We are sharing Everything at Once right now on our website. So go check it out. Support what Courtney's up to. She's going to be on the road for the next couple of weeks. So as you will hear, if anyone wants to go see her, you all should go say hi, go tell her you heard her on the Fretboard Journal podcast. And I'm just delighted that Courtney is back and making more music. She's got some fun collaborators on this record, which we talk all about, and so much more. So I hope you enjoy it. As always, we have a couple of sponsors that really help support everything that we do. They are Mike and Mike's Guitar Bar here in Seattle, Washington. mmguitarbar.com is how you can read up on everything they've got going through their ever-evolving inventory: acoustics, electrics, pedals, synths, you name it. They also have a full-service repair and restoration shop that I send all sorts of people to. We're also brought to you by our friends at Peghead Nation. You can go to pegheadnation.com and you will find all sorts of great instructors who can teach you everything from flat picking guitar to mandolin and banjo and all points in between. It's one of my favorite instruction sites around. They've shared many a Courtney Hartman clip over there on Peghead Nation as well. If you want to try it out, your first month is free with the discount code FRETBOARD when you check out. We are also brought to you by our friends at Stringjoy Strings over in Nashville, Tennessee. They are making strings for acoustic guitars, electric guitars, mandolins, and banjos, and they can do custom sets and any wild thing that you need. They probably will be happy to field. So go to stringjoy.com, tell them the Fretboard Journal sent you. And with all of those announcements out of the way and our 57th issue now mailing to subscribers around the world, I love seeing all the posts on Instagram from our subscribers devouring the new issue. Here is my conversation with our dear friend Courtney Hartman. Again, the record is called With You. You can probably pre-order it now, but you can definitely go hear the track Everything at Once on our fretboardjournal.com website. Courtney Hartman, welcome back.
Thank you.
You are part of the, I feel like you're part of the inner Fretboard Journal family. We've celebrated your music over the years. You've been to a lot of our Fretboard Summits, and you took a little break, and you have a new record coming out.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm part of the family too, so I'm glad it's mutual.
I'm saying this without exaggeration. One of the most cherished things on my iPhone is you at I think was the second Fretboard Summit we attempted in San Diego, playing a late night jam with Eric Schoenberg. I don't even remember what you played. I can't identify that it's some Irish reel or something, but it was like one of the most beautiful moments of the 20-year history of the Fretboard Journal. Do you remember that?
I love that. Yeah, very much so. He's someone I had admired from a distance for a long time, but then we just sat down and it felt so natural just to play and like converse musically. And then I looked up and we were surrounded by a nice group of folks.
Yeah, it was so cool to see you two. And I don't know how much you'd played together before or even what you played, but it was just one of those beautiful moments that, yeah, a bunch of us crowded around for. You've made, we've celebrated every facet of your career, the bluegrass side, the singer-songwriter side. You had a child. Mm-hmm. Took a little break, I think, from being on people's radar for a couple of years, but talk to me about the new record.
Yeah. So the last thing I put out, I guess, was at the end of 2019. So it has been a little bit. No, 2021. First thing was 2019, 2021. It's been a few years. This record feels, maybe equally, but also maybe more so of, it's of a time in my life. It's of a season and a chapter. And for me, that was this kind of journeying into motherhood.
Mm-hmm. And when your child is 2.5, is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
And so where do you find that, as a fellow parent, like that, like running a small business, like being a musician can be all encompassing. You could pour every hour of your waking day into being a good parent, trying to promote your business, trying to promote your music. Like, how did music find its way back into your life after like all hands on deck, I'm in mom mode? Mm-hmm. Or was it always there?
That's such a good question. I think it's a constant learning and unlearning and relearning. When, I was in the middle of writing a record, when I found out that I was pregnant with Temple, and, I kind of had this feeling of like urgency. I wanted to finish the songs and get them recorded, and I didn't know who I was going to be, after this like mile marker in my life. And then really clearly felt this intuitive sense that I needed to pause, slow down, and set those songs aside in order to be really present with the moment I was in. And so I think that feeling helped me kind of in those moments where I had a really strong feeling that this was the work I needed to be doing. And it kept me paying attention, and it kept me kind of returning my focus. Even when it was like, it's been 3 weeks since I've written anything down, or I haven't touched my guitar in 10 days or something. But then when she was really little, now looking back, I'm like, oh, it's so much easier to play when they're infants. You can just set them on the floor, and if they like it, but they don't try to take the instrument from you or run off or say, no, mommy, no. But yeah, just playing in the in-between moments. Like, it's so much easier to not do the work than it is to do the work, even if the work is easy to do. Even if it's, quote, easy to sit down and play for 10 minutes, it's so much easier not to. Yeah. To like clean the counters off or check email or whatever. That was a roundabout way of saying that I'm still figuring it out, but it's just about fitting it in those spaces, I think, for me.
Yeah. And, I don't think I'm projecting. Maybe I am, but like, I felt like the last time we talked, you had the Austin Hooks space heater amp. And I know Josh Scott is a big fan of your work. And like, I kind of thought maybe it was going to go in a more experimental, louder, electric direction. Did being a parent change like, oh, I'm going to reframe what I want to make music wise?
I mean, weirder, louder. There's a part of me that's like, yes, that's exactly what I want. There are some like tiny, weird, loud moments of guitar work on this record. So yes. I hope that those who want that can pick those out.
Yeah.
But yes, it was me. All of this music was, it was written either out in our garden shed or right in front of a baby, essentially, yeah. Or like holding her, bouncing her. These songs were like very much in relationship with her, with our family, written in a very small space. And so there is more of a softness to them. There's more of, I wanted to make something that I didn't want it to pull me out of that space at any time. So when I was listening back to demos or to songs, it was like, if I was nursing and something pulled me out of that present space, it felt like it didn't fit with the overarching project.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. You don't have time for a pedal board when you got a kid in front of you and stuff to do.
You know what, Temple? She walks around with a little patch cable around her neck and she thinks it's a stethoscope. And so she puts one in on her baby doll and then listens. And her favorite thing is playing with my pedal board. And it's a little trickier during sound check because she'll just mute stuff and, you know, turn all the knobs.
Yeah.
She's very into it, and she'll plug her little ukulele into the amp, and you know, she's into it. So it's there.
So cool. That's so cool. It's been a while for me, but I remember when I had a kid, and he was young. You know, there was sort of like one guitar that I kept out, either because I didn't care about it, and I didn't care if the dog knocked it over. Everything else kind of got locked up for a while. Was there one instrument for you for the last couple of years that you've kind of turned to?
The one I've turned to the most is a guitar that pre-war, a couple of guys in North Carolina, pre-war guitars built for me, modeled after a J45. And I don't know. There's a real ease in playing it, and it's one of their distressed models, so that makes me feel better about if I add any distress to it.
Totally. It's already been dinged up.
Yeah.
That's cool. With you is a collection of songs, including a lot of co-writes. Like, I don't know, forgive me for not knowing, like, I don't know if this is part of your like long-term career, if you're doing a lot of co-writes, or if this was sort of a new experience for you. Talk to me about it.
It was relatively new. When I was playing with Delamay, Celia Woodsmith and I did a lot of co-writing. A lot of times that was working on material for her or but it was for her to sing. So it was different than, you know, working on material for my own project. I had co-written with Maya DeVitri and Taylor Ashton for my own albums. But this project was decidedly different because kind of as I was going through all of these songs that I'd written within that year of Temple being born, I really felt like I wanted and needed to bring in other voices and stories, and that the songs needed that to feel complete. And so for, you know, this sounds corny, but I wanted to turn to the neighborhood of motherhood in order to do that. And I think there was a part of me that was also looking for women who were a few steps ahead of me, who had figured out how to weave together a creative and caregiving walk in their life. So co-writing, I was reaching out to mostly folks that I had never written with before. And that felt so scary. I had to like pep talk before all of my emails, and it was almost all over Zoom. So it was entering into a co-writing scenario where there wasn't necessarily, there might have been a friendship or acquaintances, but there wasn't like a writing relationship. I had written with Sarah Siskind once before. But what I found was that it just felt so natural, and we were coming at this material from a place of mutual understanding, and that felt so fairly nourishing for me in that moment of kind of postpartum navigation.
Do you remember who you sent the first email to, and like what the pitch was?
I think it was either Tift Merritt or Sarah Siskind.
Okay. And how did you describe what you were aiming for with you?
I think that's a good question. I think I said I was writing songs about care, about this chapter in my life.
Yeah.
And I felt like it felt pretty clear in my mind which songs I needed to send to which writers.
Oh,
And a lot of times that worked out well.
that's really cool. So everybody got the seed of a song. Like it wasn't anything from scratch.
Nothing from scratch.
Yeah.
Yep. Some of them were small seeds and some were like pretty complete songs. But they weren't done yet. I knew they weren't complete yet.
Mm-hmm.
Some I thought were complete. And then, like writing with Tift was so beautiful, the way that she was able to not give the song material, but give me questions that helped to clarify the material. And some of that led to like full rewrites, which I'm just so grateful for those questions.
Did you have all these correspondences, Zooms going on at the same time? Or because that seems like it'd be overwhelming, a whole collection of songs to 10 different people or however many.
It was winter. It was like, like December to February or something.
Okay. You had nothing else going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Winter in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Just have a bunch of songs floating around the internet. Okay.
Yeah. But I had this big pile of songs. And then the final amount of women who wrote on the album, I think was six writers. So it was a lot of narrowing of songs and narrowing of, you're going to send in some, I've learned, I think through those asks. And then again, when I was crowdfunding, like you might have to ask a lot of times, and it's okay when people say no or say not right now. They're not rejecting you. At least that's how I have to frame it.
No, I mean, that's how many people have had to email me 2 or 3 times, and there's no slight against them. It's just like life.
Yeah, it is
hard to keep up.
And it's so full.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, 20 years in, we still have people who are like, I never heard of the Fretboard Journal. And I'm like, we Instagram every day and put out 2 podcasts a week. Like, what are you talking about? But yeah, it just happens. And that's great, I guess. That means there's more people for all of us. I know from being a parent that, you have a coffee date. I'm not even trying to write songs, but you start talking about work or whatever. And then inevitably you start talking about parenting and life and going deep. Did that all happen with the 6 songwriters where part of the conversation was the work at hand and the other part was just kind of like catching up, getting coaching, commiserating?
Yeah, I think, yeah, definitely. Or, you're weaving. The songs aren't all about it being like bright and breezy and, so there were themes that it was so helpful to just explore with who was there or who had been there. And, have help getting out of my own head or getting inside my own head and figuring out what was it I was trying to express or say or experiencing. Or just, an image that I wrote, someone, one of the writers connecting it to their own child or their own experience. And so then you have this weaving of imagery and metaphor. And it's such a beautiful thing.
Totally. We are going to be sharing everything at once on the Fretboard Journal site. Do you want to talk about the origin story of that song and how it came to be?
Yeah, that one was perhaps the smallest song seed I sent to anybody. But I had been circling around it for long enough that I knew that there was something in it. And I wrote it in the summer, sitting there kind of on the floor with Temple and feeling like I'm so grateful to be here. And I love this as much as I've loved anything before or more, just like being present with her. And so many people are just out doing summer adventures and playing festivals and going camping. And there's a part of me that like wants that, like this yearning for like home and sitting on the floor with someone you love, and also having the freedom to go and wanting to like loving that physical connection with a child or a loved one, but also just wanting to like, nobody touch me, like that, all of the, this kind of like, you want all of it. And so that's kind of where the song Seed came from. And I sent it to Sarah Siskind, kind of being like, I don't know, this is the only section I have. And she came back and had expounded upon it in a really beautiful way. And this one feels like it definitely bears Sarah's stamp. And
nice.
I love that.
How did the actual recording of the album go down?
We recorded here in Eau Claire, and I wanted to work with the people who had been really present in our life throughout some pretty tricky and heavy, months. And so that was working with Brian Joseph in his studio. And I've worked with him a lot over the years, and it was really great to just get to record this in his space. And then a really sweet group of folks here. My previous bandmate, Zoe Gigano, came and played bass. And then had a number of like friends from town who stopped by to play on things. Friends from out of town, Watch House came through, and we tracked something together, and Phil Cook came through. And then some of it was me sending tracks out for people to record in their own homes or studios. For this one, for Everything at Once, it was the last track that we recorded. And I wanted it to just feel like a bunch of friends. I wanted to feel like kind of everything in the studio all at once. And so it was evening, and I had two drummers, Shane Leonard and Sean Carey, were both playing drums. And it just felt really fun and alive. And we were in one room together. And then afterwards, my friend Sarah Kruger and Liz Eldridge, they're both local here, and sweet friends, they came in and sang on it. And yeah, Sarah had lost, we had a daughter in the same week. Kiddos the same age, and she had lost her husband when her daughter was a year old. And so when she came in and put her voice on the words that we had written, like, it just brought an entirely different element of courage and depth and soft, like it's just like her softness in that. So that it made me, I was definitely weeping when she was singing, and it just felt like her courage was such a gift on the song.
You mentioned that there was a heavy period. Was that related to, I know a little bit that you were like trying to rebuild this farmhouse and like just tear it down to the bones? Like, was that just a hard place, especially as a new parent?
Yeah, we were, it's not even a farmhouse. It's just like a little house in town, but we had ripped it up, and we're in the middle of rebuilding it, doing all the work ourselves, my husband and I. And that's when I got pregnant. And then I was about 8 weeks in when my husband fell off a ladder while I was on tour. And he like landed on his heel and crushed it into a bunch of, they were like, it's in 1,000 pieces. So he was on crutches, and then lost his jobs. And then I lost my booking agent a week later, and just a lot of things kind of got pulled out from under us. And trying to, finish our home, and we were at that point, we had to kind of live off the money I had saved to make that earlier record. And yeah, just there was some challenges there, and some, bouts of depression, and then for me some challenges postpartum, and
Yeah.
all part of like the natural weave of our life, I think. But looking back, we can see, we see how much we were kind of held by friends, and grateful to have made it through.
Yeah. I mean, to make it through, I mean, even just a house renovation without injury or children is trying for any couple or anyone on their own. So making it out of that on the other side happier, you've figured something out or found the right partner or all of the above.
Yeah, totally. Lots of grace.
What is the music scene in Eau Claire, Wisconsin like? I don't really know.
It's so sweet.
Yeah.
There's, famously, Bon Iver is from Eau Claire, mostly based in Eau Claire. He has his studio here. So there's that, and it kind of brings some people through town, which is awesome. But there's a really nice scene here right now. When I moved here, there were I had this group of brothers that I made music with a lot in the studio, and that's actually how I met my husband, was through that scene. And I just felt so musically connected to them. But there weren't really a lot of women in town making music. And now that's shifted a lot. There's a great scene of songwriters, and it's small, but there's a sweetness to that.
Yeah. It sounds kind of idyllic. I mean, that's all these little music hubs that are cool, and then they don't become, you found it while it's still growing. And
yeah, in a moment, I think it's had lots of moments.
Yeah.
But we started a little song hang once a month. So we meet at each other's houses and play rough versions of songs that are mostly not there, but kind of.
Yeah. For someone who was a staple of bluegrass festivals for years and one of the great flat pickers, what's your relationship with bluegrass like right now?
Yeah. I just played a bluegrass festival this past weekend.
Okay.
Made me so happy.
Good.
It also made me feel all right, I think I feel ready to write some songs that can at least get people swaying and, maybe not full on dancing, but that community is so, I don't know, it's really life-giving, and people are really loyal. And I think that's really special. And it's so much in me. I mean, I went to my first festival when I was 2, and then, consistently as a kid, we would go. So I think I miss it more than I realize sometimes.
The level that you play at, there's an athleticism there, and it requires some muscle memory. Do you keep playing on your own at that level, or is there I got to work these muscles again?
I definitely feel what I don't have here that I miss is pick and hangs.
Yeah.
I don't play fiddle tunes with anybody, and as you can play on your own all you want, but you don't get the interaction is where you really learn how to be reactive and listening, and that part of me, it's so different playing in a studio or something, and the material and the language of fiddle tunes or playing that music. It is a muscle, or it's a language that can slip a little bit, but it's still in there. Mm-hmm. It's still in there.
I know your van is packed. You're about to go on the road. Your daughter is at the age you should be enjoying life, because it's school and social stuff probably hasn't taken over. As you talk to these other moms, either co-writing or just friend groups, do you have kind of your next few years envisioned in terms of how you balance it all?
I have no idea, actually.
Okay.
I have no
None
idea.
of us do. I just figured I'd ask.
I think, well, if I've learned anything in the last 2.5 years, and I'm going to keep learning this, it's like, maybe we don't figure it out because the kids are always changing and needs are changing. And, yeah, I have no idea, which feels a little intimidating. Like I would feel much more comfortable if I could say like, yeah, here's what I imagine for the next 5 or 10 years and the work I want to do. But I don't think I can say that. And I'll treasure the moments. Like I played a show in Eau Claire a couple of weeks ago, a round robin thing on someone's like porch of their farmhouse. And Temple just sat on a blanket the whole time until the last song. On the encore, she came and said, "Can I sit on your lap?" That felt great, but I'm not going to expect that for every, that was perhaps a one-off at this stage.
I mean, the fact that you got to experience that and you have gratitude for it is like so cool. I mean, it could have gone any way, but you got to enjoy that moment. Yeah. The record you kind of hinted at that I don't think did see the light of day. Is that, how do you feel about that?
It was partially, it was not entirely written. Yeah, there might be songs that resurface or not. And that's okay.
Yeah. I just didn't know if it felt like from a different lifetime ago or something.
Yeah. I don't remember the song, so that's a sign that maybe they didn't need to exist.
Yeah, they're not haunting you.
No, not haunting me at all.
Okay. All right, so we're going to share this beautiful song from you. The album comes out in November. You're going on the road. Where are you going?
Yeah. We'll start in Mishawaka, Indiana. Okay. On Wednesday. We make our way up to upstate New York and then a bunch of New England and Brooklyn and then back through Pittsburgh. So it would be really sweet to see. I know a lot of y'all listening your faces will be familiar. So if you can come out to shows, it'd be wonderful to say hi.
And you have it all dialed in with Temple and like who's watching Temple and all that good stuff?
My husband will be with. So that will be awesome. They'll get to go to sleep in the van, in the camper van while I'm playing. That's the idea, at least. But we're about to learn a lot.
Yeah. Who's selling merch? You, him, Temple?
Or volunteer. If you want to be on the guest list and sell my merch, let me know.
Okay. All right. We're going to get this out on the 30th of September. So, yeah, there are people, at least for the latter shows.
Totally.
All right. Courtney, it's always a joy to talk to you. You feel like part of our extended family, and the record is absolutely beautiful, and it's just so great to hear your voice again.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much.
All right, that was my conversation with Courtney Hartman, or at least part of it. We're good friends, so we probably spent a half hour just catching up before that podcast was recorded. And I'm so happy to hear her voice and to see what she is up to. So go check out the new record. Go help her sell merch at her East Coast shows, everybody. Go step up. It'd be great. And thanks as always for being a part of the Fretboard Journal family. As always, I'll take your feedback, podcast@fretboardjournal.com, or if you just love the show, leave us a 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts. Till next time.